our life now in the whole world situation has become a very unpredictable. So when many countries in the situation about the pandemic spreading, so there's so much different voice. The government have different talks about what to do, but there's a very interesting to experience how can we really understand why the situation has been happening, why the virus can cause such kind of a strong impact. I just want to mention that since I'm in China, because there's constantly the television, they give the information how to protect yourself, and how virus can get into your body, and then you need wearing the masks because which parts of the skin like a nose and the eyes more vulnerable. So that's why when you are covered that, so you have a much less chance to expose that's the invasion. So that's become in like national common knowledge. So that's some of the people see the kind of a news when the people not wearing the masks, and then people turn the mask around, even put the inside part to the tables, whatever. That's quite shocking because the virus touch which part, so they will be connecting the skin that can be very easy through the skin get into the vulnerable nose and the eyes. So I just want to mention that because I find we notice that many kind of countries that maybe not even have this kind of information available. But what I really am more interested to notice that, so people are talking about the factual levels about like how long we can be free, how long we can be back to normal life, instead of to uh, really calm down and then to think or to review uh, why our human being and have to face to such kind of situation with our highly developed scientific technology, especially in the West countries. And for example, I saw the news in talking about how much kind of a research center in American, and then there's so many beds for the percentage patients, and then so they should be really preparing ready. But why have such kind of high deathly rate? Um, it's That's why people can see those facts and the phenomenon. What is to teach us? Um, but there's some other news also we see is because the the miracle of the nature, they're so powerful because virus we hardly can see it, but they make the whole world slow down to stay at home, and then to really shut down inside the house. So from that point, and then we can see that it's achievement. It could be say the achievement, which is a lot of a Green Party want people to take care of the nature, and then so their science try to warn people. There's the Earth's temperature is rising. That's very dangerous, and they are glacier is kind of a melting, and there's so much talking about the ecosystem has been in a crisis. But all of the human effort is not that strong as what is the virus did. So we see there's news showing in the city of India, and there's many years cannot see the Himalaya mountains. But now, because people all stay at home, there's no airplane flying, there's no car moving. So it was a beautiful nature mountains appeared in Italy, in Venice, in the city. There water in the city can see the swan and can see the water much more clear. So the pollution is much, much less. And from the NASA to look at the Earth, so there's a much, much less the air pollution than then that's recently 20 years it's never have such a clear air. So can we imagine just a little virus achieved to protect the earth? So now the animals are much more free, and then we see the news. There's many turtles, the sea big turtles. Have 100 of them come up to the beach to get the eggs laid up, but they cannot do that for many years because there are too much human on the beach. So now let we see when the human to slow down and then to give their nature have a breathe. So what's that tells us? So that tells us the virus give our strong message. We need respect the Tao, to follow the rhythms of the nature. Because our human being, especially after industrial revolution, and we want to efficient, we want everything fast. So people working day and night, and then so we have the idea for economy. So the more we produced, the better you are. So the value systems about if you're making so much money, so you're rich, so you're very successful. So that's why you have a much respect because you are capable for making the material more. And then for the country also talking about the GDP, because your highest GDP, that's what also count about the money and the material produced. So that is kind of like, it's the power. So we are focused on the power and then so much on the material. And that's one of the reasons people start kind of separate and then from the nature, from ourselves from the nature, and also the country relationship is not collaborate. It's just as the competition attacked, and how much we can occupy it. So I just want to say from the Chinese medicine, we follow the Tao. Tao just said that the big Tao is no shape, but they create heaven and earth. We know there's no shape, and then the emptiness is not means there's nothing. there is something which is the vibration. So when the Tao looks like there's no emotion, but what they do, they are moving the sun and the moon because they can get to that move. So that's why we will see the Tao is from the one and bring the two. So what is the Tao doing? They have not the dress, the name, but they can nourishing the 10,000 sense. So in this case, we need to understand in the universe there is program and then there's a setting. That setting is the round movement. Is that's what we were living. Everybody living the day cycles. We are in the cycles all the time. So you see the day cycles, the month cycle, and then 4 season cycles. So that's why, and then our life is like a and start growing and then getting stronger, and then so it's a decline and the height and then dies and then they start again. So that's what natural is about. So if we want to know what is the life, so why this life has been really challenged by the virus and then by the breathing. So because we need to look into, are we respect that rhythms, because life have rhythms, breathing have rhythms, and the heart have the rhythms. So I just want to introduce something very practical today, since we were talking about, and people thinking you're talking the Tao is like a philosophy, but actually it's not just about philosophy. It's very practical. For example, there is program has been recommended to the doctor and nurse and then, well, the staff in Wuhan hospital, because those medical professional people in the really high stress and the risk, and some of them have to work for 12 hours or maybe even kind of 14 hours. And also because they're wearing there's kind of protection suits, so they have a 3 layer, um, and and then also those suits you can only wearing once. But if you're going to drink or eat or even going to the toilet, you have to take suits off. So that means you have to throw it away and then take the new one. And at the very beginning, those kind of gear for the medical gear is very, very shortage. Just like now, in Europe, in America now, salt is short as well. But in China, they were short. So what they do, they have to varying that for a long time. So what they don't drink, they don't eat within 12 hours, and then they even not going to the toilet. What they do, they're varying the the baby nap. It's got baby nap, yeah. So they have to pee and poo in the suits. And so the life is quite tough. Can you imagine? For the nurse and the lady doctor, they're even more tough. But if they have a period, so they have to that's one of the reason. They just forget themselves and pay attention how to work with the patients. So in such a stress, because they don't have food, they don't drink, and then they have to work, and then with the disturbance, the pee and the poo, I have to do it. So, and what they can carry on without collapsed. So there's one sense is the breathing and then rhythms. So I want to just introduce this one. Can you imagine if you breathe? Okay, everybody knows we breathe, but how many people know how to breathe? That is the another kind of an interesting sense. I just want to draw the attention to people. Said, do you notice how long how okay, put this way, do you know how many breaths how the length of the breath you can last? So people maybe just take it for granted, not taking any notice what is the breathing is about. So for example, there's the breath. You breathing in. First, you notice your heart. So, and then you're breathing in within the 5 seconds. And after 5 seconds, and then you're breathing out. And also, you're doing the 5 seconds. And the length of the breathing out for one breathing in and out. So that's totally together is 10 seconds. So you make sure your breathing is 10 seconds for each in and out, just continually. So this breathing method showing to the the doctor and the nurse, and which is helping them to reducing the tension, because when you are holding the breath, and that means you're stressed. But if you can breathing and with the natural rhythms, very stable, so that's your strengthening your whole body. Just like if you notice your heartbeat, we said people have very strong heart. So that means each beat, they're slow and then strong. But if your beat is getting too fast, like a da, 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 so that's dangerous, because we do, the heart doesn't bring enough the blood in and out. So that's cause them deteriorate to get the sufficient blood supply. So so that's why the breathing very resonantly breathing is also helping the heart beat. When the heart beats well, and then our whole body can get enough oxygen. Also, we need to know breathing also affected your intestine movement. So that's why I have been discussed with one of the scientists. We were talking about how about the prolonging and the breathing, not just about 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, to take us like 10 seconds in and out, but through the tummy breathing. And because they noticed that when you were drawn the wave shape, when you breathe like in and out, it's like a wave, like that wave appeared as beautiful. That means your whole body in a much more much better harmonious state, because the harmonious state is very important for the body. It's like the heart have their own kind of rhythms, and then their own electromagnetic field. But the stomach have their own, and the lung have their own. So it's just like the beautiful ballet dance. So each person the dance have a different way. When they put that together, your dance is much beautiful to see, and then give your really nice feeling. So the body as a life the same, and our life is relying on the different this um, vibrating inside our body. So that's why it's like an orchestra. So make such collaborate to make life much more normal. So that's why yin and yang also in that kind of a breathing. So we're breathing in and out is like one of yin and yang. So if we were breathing smoothly, so the rest of the part of the body will be much stronger. All right. So put this principle, we understand our life is based on that kind of rhythms. So if we ignore that rhythm, so that's why lots of people get sick, and because the immune system gets shut down. Why immune system are shut down? Because you haven't really get to your body regularly, get to the blood supply, get to the chi move. So that's why the emergency, when you hold your breath, you get fast, you overwork. So that's why they get deteriorate. So when we knowing I would suggest it everybody, if you listen to that podcast, please give a try. If you can breathing continually and not asking for long, just breathing in 5 seconds, breathing out for 5 seconds. If you continue doing that for about 10 minutes, and to see what you feel. In fact, I just want to see harmony is one of the bodies, the beautiful situation in our life. So that's why our body is like bio. We put that way, bio machine. So we kind of dealing so much message from each organs on from our side. So we are also use the energy, use the chi to deal with that, and also to perceive has the weather, has the temperature, has the the air quality, and then there's a special stimulate. So our body and always react to that. So if we can train ourselves in the normal life to slow down and then make our vibration and to resonate with the nature vibration. So we resonate the nature rhythms together. So that is the real health going to be achieved. So that's why we call it 4 times for health. For example, the morning, the sunrise. So we need to raising up with the nature to do some exercise, because there's plenty of the chi and plenty of blood time. So when the lunchtime, we need to slow down because there's yin and rise. Even there's plenty of sunshine, we still need to nourishing. There's a baby yin. So in the sunset, so we need to put feet up, just take the easy rest, and then restore our yang qi, active qi, not sweat, not doing that. So that, and then those looks quite simple, especially in the evening. Because one evening we meant to be go to bed, slow down, follow the yin follow that kind of quietness to rest. So that's gave the body chance to recover the damage or the overload of the work we have done. So, but if we forgot this, follow everything's fast and then just and get too excited and then get overstimulated watching too much film and just excited to overstimulate our body and then totally ignore those rhythms. So that's why the nature is going to give our lessons. So the virus start to become active. Why? Because our body and haven't got that strong immune system to be able to keep them out, keep them away. So that's why they come in. They come in to teach us that, okay, look, your body out of rhythms, so you cannot, strong enough to keep me away. So that's why I want living within your body. Just put this one to think. Can you imagine why those viruses not going away very quick? But in China, yes, they stopped very quick because the whole China, especially in Wuhan, have seriously stay at home and relaxed. So that's why as soon as we learn, we take the message, slow down and stop and review and then follow the nature and then follow the Tao. For whatever the nature teach us, we're moving too fast. We're too material chasing. So now stop. So when we will stop, that's why the virus also slow down, stopped. Because energetic levels, when we stop, we get much stronger. So they cannot really attack the body that much. But why they last so long? Because if we still kind of agitate, you can see why we always said when you were under the stress, you don't have that kind of a resilience to cope the shock situation. You can see why when the people and then more vulnerable because their chi is weak, or they have been totally out of the rhythm for too long, and then because that's why the body, the cells is not that strong enough because the energy and the chi has been burned out, so they cannot cope anymore. Just that's so simple. Because we are almost like running the round. Our life it's like the clock and the running. So we know the time. So that's why we're running the clock. But of course, and then the human being lifespan have a certain amount. So that's why gradually people deteriorate. But why we were talking about the sage and all of these internal alchemy practitioners, they can live in so long as apparently because they make sure that the cycles that keep steadily running, that without have a break, without have kind of a flat tail. Just like a tail, if you have plenty of chi inside, so you keep running. But as soon as the chi disappeared, so it's like a flat tail in the car, on the car. So that's why you cannot running the life anymore. That is one of the very, very important concept in the classical Chinese medicine. We are living our life, our life force, actually living in the life circles. Our life circles is basically to fit in the cosmos rhythms and circles. That circles is day are circles, month circles, and season are circles. So our Earth turn around themselves, and also our Earth turn around them. They are all circles. So you cannot just thinking everything just a straight line. You cannot go back. So that's another reasons I want to see why people will worry about it. So is still the virus going away? Yes, they will going away, but depends on how do we take care our life circles or take care of the nature. If we would take care of that, so that's why they won't last that long. Can you imagine China only take almost about 2.5 months to stop the outbreak. So I hope that the other countries also take not too long, but how long going to take it is also depends on whether we are truthful or we are honest to face the reality, rather than to think about the political reasons, and then rather to think to make decision based on the fear. For example, the fear about not enough the masks. So that's why not encourage people to wearing the mask. So to address that the real situation, to find a very positive way, active way to resolve that. So that is the human being need to learn. We shouldn't behave like and like a spoiled the child. So when we need to take the nature with respect, we don't. We only want to do what we want. But when the crisis situation happened, so we start to blame someone else rather than to reflect and learn what we need to do better, what's the deep reasons. So as soon as we find the cost, what caused that, and then we are going to correct it, and then the situation will turn around, because I believe the nature never really want to just kill human, is because they provide so much for us, the food and the air and the water and the trees, whatever we needed. But what we need to learn, we are in such a big complexity system, so we need to learn how to respect all of that, and then to learn how to understand what we need to follow, and what's that design, and then we won't kind of left behind. Otherwise, the ego is so big, we just said, oh, I want to push, I can finish that. So you ignore those kind of rhythms. By mentioning that rhythm is so important, because quite lots of people ask me, said, oh, how can I get internal alchemy do it? Because internal alchemy is to train yourself really beyond yourself, and also you can master the energy, and also to be uplifted, our soul and our physical being. But I just said, well, it's quite simple. Internal alchemy start is follow the rhythms. So that's why the 4 times for health is based on the internal alchemy practice, because each major the rhythms shift, the cycles shift is about 2 hours. So that's why each 2 hours almost need full of the energy to filling up that. So that's why you need to follow what and they need to do. But now, and if you look the whole world, how many people will really do it properly, follow the nature rhythms? So that's why I have the questions for lots of people, because there's something really make me thinking, because people said, what does it really means the quality of life? But lots of people tell me, say, wow, enjoy happiness. So, okay, yes, our human body have this kind of a setting for their pleasure, for their enjoyment. But that is a part of our body program. For example, you listen to the beautiful music, you just find, wow, that's like heaven. You're so enjoy that. Or you see to the people you love, you just feel, wow, you feel so happy. So that's those, as we can say, as the either five sensational and then physical or spiritual, or on the mood, you have those kind of happiness. So, but how to get the enjoy and the happiness? I just want to mention that now, because our human in such kind of stress, because I see the news on American people had a poor tax, so we want to free them. We want to enjoy our life. Whatever, we're all going to die. I don't care. So that's a mention about that. I just want to mention that the physical sensational enjoyment that they need to go through the stimulate. So the stimulate is like, oh, you taste the nice food. Wow, such enjoyable. So that's why people want to eat more. Eat more nice food and more kind of stimulate. Or that's why some people have knowing as there's touch is kind of enjoyment, so that's just want the more touch and the more touch. So that's partly. And then people, for example, they have want the enjoyment about them by stimulate, for example, the stimulate getting stronger and stronger, because you get this stimulate, so you want it. But if you repeat the same stimulate, there's not that strong enough. They want to even more stronger. So that's why that's we call them attachment. So when that happening, there could be really destroyed our body. So that's as we call the physical sensational stimulate for the enjoyment. But there's another kind of enjoyment or happiness is from the spiritual. Spiritual happiness is through you understand who you are, where you're from. You understand the source. So from that practice, you entered the big space about universe. So you start to understand how to beyond yourself. And then you get the wisdom. So through the stillness, and then to enter that called enlightenment. So enlightenment in Chinese words is one side is the heart, another and the other character. I'm talking about Chinese character, and another part is the five. Underneath is the mouth. So that means through the five elements, through your mouth, and then based on the heart, and then you put that together. That really means through the five sensation, through your body, and then you followed the nature, and then you practice through the stillness you can observing, and then to experience readjusting, reducing the energy consumptions, and then you start get this kind of enlightenment state. You find it through the stillness you entered. That's kind of a different vibration, because when that vibration, when you're still, your vibration starts increasing. So you start resonant to the earth vibration, to the the solar vibration. You gradually start raising to the high dimension. But of course, some people also want to this kind of enlightenment, but it is through the very strong stimulate. So that is like a shocking stimulate. And then when the people go through the shocking, which happen a lot, like some people busy making money and then busy work day and the night, and suddenly they have been told they got cancer. So they have to be faced to that, to be or not to be state. So that's kind of shock, and certainly have to put, it's like everything have to stand still, because you cannot do the work, you cannot make money, you cannot make love, you have to stay in bed. So from that is going to deep of yourself, and then to transform, to understand you have to restart, and then through the different way. So that's why people start change their life, change physical location, and change the relationship, change the way of doing, change the way of thinking. Why I like to mention that, because this pandemic, this virus, indeed the similar sense to whole humanity. So the whole humanity, we need to do the self-checking, to start to notice our conscious level, our action, our mind, our every part of ourselves. Are we in line with the nature rhythms or not? If we don't, so that's why the huge shock is to come, because we create that, because we create the huge unbalanced until, and then there's totally impossible to carry on that situation. So that's why that pandemic happened. That pandemic is a wake-up call. So the wake-up call for human psychic, for our human to understand as one of the species on the life species on the world, on the earth, what we did for the other life, what we did to the earth themselves. So you can see why there's the oil price drop down. Yes, that is a part of a lot of Green Party, really, Green movement really want to achieve, because they try to stop the airplane flying. You can see the virus achieve achieve that goal. So all of the airplanes stopped in the airport, and there's very, very little flying. So that's why the whole Earth is much more clean than many, many years. It's the first time. So that's why I just feel the classical Chinese medicine actually is already showing us we need to be in line with the Tao, with the nature. So now is the time, if you want to practice the internal alchemy, so you make sure and don't look too far, make sure you breathe regularly. And then you make sure you follow the natural rhythms. And the sunrise, you get up, sunset, you rest. You make sure we are much more to respect was the natural program to bring us for the such beautiful life. And so that's why if we haven't really understand that the nature rhythms cannot broken bad human, that is the core from the virus. But if we don't really understand that, we're just waiting for them to disappear and our life going to be back as what is, what was. That's doesn't going to happen, because as soon as we want to go back without learn the lessons, that's why this pandemic will last long until we learn the lessons. So now I just feel like that's what I observing and what I listen so long, but there's so much the political leaders is talking about what is happening. We probably can use this medicine, the other medicine. Is everything is talking about the use medicine to cure virus. So from the nature law, that is not the point to kill them, because natural law is to keep the balance for all of life. So what we need to make the focus about how to change ourselves, how could we respect and all the other life, and then first respect ourselves. First start from the breathing, because the breathing, if we do that practice, we probably also strengthen our whole body, including the lung. And from that, we slow down. I noticed that whenever I try to practice that, I find amazingly, everything starts slow. And then that's why probably that's the best, because when we were slow, we are getting stronger inside ourselves, and then we're much more connected with what nature and then the source of the universe.